Welcome to the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube. This is our Awakening Together weekly gathering. Each and every week we have a different minister who speaks. If you'd like to attend our services live, please visit our website awakening-together.org. Click on Online Sanctuary on the main menu. Then, How to Enter the Sanctuary. Our services are held Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary.
Got it. Good morning, everybody. I bring you greetings this morning from the beautiful, sunny, southern New Jersey. So welcome. So we'll move to, if you would just join me, close your eyes for a second. And why don't we just go ahead into that silence? That was a perfect tee up for this silence that we are experiencing right now. Just so grateful to be present with each and every one of you now. Here together in this one mind that we are all a part of. How beautiful, how wonderful, how exquisite it is to be, just be, to trust all that it is, and to awaken into this moment that we are gathered here today, wherever we are, in love, in joy, in health and wellness. Thank you, life. Thank you, God, for all that is and for all that will forever be. We are grateful and thankful. And all that needs to be reached, said, to whomever needs to be said to, we know that it is a divine experience that we're having. And I'm so grateful and thankful. Amen. So, we will have our reading now. Our reading today comes from the Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's chapter 8, and it's called Let Go Now or Fall. And Anne Blanchard will be doing the reading for us this morning. Anne?
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Jackie. That's a gorgeous song right there. Thank you. That gift. So, as Reverend Jackie said, this is from Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul, chapter 8, which is called Let Go Now or Fall. If you truly want to grow spiritually, you'll realize that keeping your stuff is keeping you trapped. Eventually, you'll want out at any cost. You will then realize that life is actually trying to help you. Life is surrounding you with people and situations that stimulate growth. You don't have to decide who's right or wrong. You don't have to worry about other people's issues. You only have to be willing to open your heart in the face of anything and everything, and permit the purification process to take place. When you do this, the first thing you'll see is that situations will unfold that hit your stuff. But in truth, that's exactly what has been happening your entire life. The only difference is that now you see it as a good thing because it's an opportunity to let go. The stuff that holds you down periodically rears its head. When it does, let it go. You simply permit the pain to come up into your heart and pass through. If you do that, it will pass. If you are sincerely seeking truth, you'll let go every time. This is the beginning and end of the entire path. You surrender yourself to the process of emptying yourself. When you work with this, you start to learn the subtler laws of the process of letting go. There is a law you will learn very early in the game because it is an unavoidable truth. You will learn it early, but you will fall many times while trying to adhere to it. The law is very straightforward. When your stuff gets hit, let go right then, because it will be harder later. It won't be easier if you explore it, you play with it, hoping to take the edge off. It won't be easier to think about it, talk about it, or try to release only part of it at a time. If you want to be free to the core of your being, you must let go right away, because it will not be easier later. In order to live by this law, you have to understand its principles. First, you must be aware that there is something within you that needs to be released. You must then be aware that you, the one who notices the stuff coming up, are distinct from what you're experiencing. You are noticing it, but who are you? This place of centered awareness is the seat of the witness, the seat of self, capital S. That is the only seat from which you can let go. Let's say you notice that something in your heart gets hit. You let go and stay in the seat of awareness. What you are noticing will pass. If you don't let go and instead get lost in the disturbed feelings and thoughts that arise, you'll see a sequence of events unfold so quickly, you won't know what hit you. If you don't let go, you'll notice that the energy that got stimulated in your heart works like a magnet. It is a phenomenally attractive force that will pull your consciousness into it. The next thing you know, you won't be there. You won't maintain the same perspective of awareness that you had when you first noticed the disturbance. You will leave the seat of objective awareness from which you saw your heart begin to react, and you will get involved in the shifting energies coming from your heart. Sometime later, you'll come back and realize you weren't there. You'll come back and realize that you were totally lost in your stuff. Then you will hope that you didn't say or do anything you'll regret. You'll look at the clock, and 5 minutes will have gone by, or an hour, or even a year. You can lose your clarity for quite some time. Where did it go? How did you come back? We will address these questions shortly, but what really matters is that when you're seeing clearly, you're not going anywhere. You're simply sitting in the seat of centered awareness, watching your stuff get hit. As long as you're watching, you're not getting lost in it. If you fall along the way, just get up and forget it. Use the lesson to strengthen your resolve. Let it go right then. Do not rationalize, blame, or try to figure it out. Don't do anything. Just let go immediately and allow the energy to go back to the highest center of consciousness it can achieve. If you feel shame, let it go. If you feel fear, let it go. All of these are the remnants of the blocked energy that is finally being purified. Always let go as soon as you're aware that you didn't. Don't waste your time. Use the energy to go up. You are a great being who has been given a tremendous opportunity to explore beyond yourself. The whole process is very exciting, and you will have good times and bad times. All sorts of things will happen. That's the fun of the journey. So don't fall. Let go. No matter what it is, let it go. The bigger it is, the higher the reward of letting go. And the worse the fall if you don't. It's pretty black and white. You either let go or you don't. There really isn't anything in between. So let all of your blockages and disturbances become the fuel for the journey. That which is holding you down can become a powerful force that raises you up. You just have to be willing to take the ascent. Thank you, my friend.
You. So if we could just pause for a second, because there was so much in that. Just let that sink in for a minute. So the title for this homily is Let Go and Trust Truth. And as I thought about it a little later, I was like, maybe that should be in the reverse. Trust truth, let go. But either way, what is it that doesn't want to let go of our stuff? Especially when we notice that it's something just hit it. What is that? What is it that questions even if what we know is true is true? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you just paused with that question? So if you haven't, then do it now. So just pause. What is that thing? What is that doesn't want to let go? What is that questions truth? I don't know what that is and what comes up for you. But I know many of us on this call this morning, some of us who are new to the journey, some of us who are been on it for a while, we kind of got an idea of where that comes from. We know that resistance comes from the ego. But what's important to recognize and notice is something else happens too. And that is our awareness that is aware of that resistance that we're having in that moment. Sometimes it doesn't, it depends, right? I know in the past, it's almost as though there's something that's sitting right behind that other stuff, right? And it's a noticeable thing. It's something I notice is there. You know, I want to go back to one thing that Anne pointed out in that reading. Michael Singer says, you must be aware that the one who notices the stuff coming up, are distinct from what you're experiencing. You. So, in other words, that's saying to me, something is looking, something is noticing the stuff, something is witnessing the stuff. And that something, as we call it, is our awareness. It is what is aware. So it goes on to say, you are noticing it, but who are you? This place of centered awareness is the seat of the witness, the seat of self, self with a capital S, seat. So how perfect is it to know, right, that we sit all day, every day, in every moment in the seat of self? And the only thing that keeps us from fully being aware of that is at each moment is where we're choosing to put our attention, where we're putting it, where we're looking. But that awareness is here all the time. So I want to share a couple of things. I'm going to give you an example of an experience I've had of sitting in the seat, and pardon me while I turned off my phone. I didn't even know it was on. So I call the first part phase one. So a few years ago at work, I noticed something that would happen every time I interacted with someone in authority on my team. I was having a certain kind of negative reaction and negative experience with them. And I want to point out that I was the one who believed it was negative. So I'm often asked during the course of my job to do all types of presentations and for team meetings, goals, projections, all that stuff. So I started to notice that this person would always come behind me and attempt to explain something I just said. Now, the first couple of times that happened, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Then I noticed that this happened every time I said or presented something. Now, in all truthfulness, this really started to annoy me, right? And the mind came up with many reasons as to why this was happening. And that's trouble number one. But here's the part, right, where this hit my stuff. Because I had a belief in not being good enough, and I internalized that, listened to the mind all the time, that constantly pointed out how true that was for me. So in this case, and in this instance, it said, well, it's you. Jackie, this is you. You don't communicate well. You know what? They don't think you know what you're doing. Oh, yeah. See, this is further proof that you don't know what you're doing. But see, look what's happening. This went on and on for a while. And every time this person would proceed or attempt to explain what I just said, it would hit my stuff. And I would sit there listening to my mind go on and on and on. Well, maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. And maybe he's wrong. And why would he do, all of that. But I want to bring this home to the fact that, that was hitting my stuff when we're talking about my stuff, that belief that I had in not being good enough, because we all got some stuff, right? But as I continued along my spiritual journey, and this was the next phase, right? So the first phase was me listening to this mind and believing what it was saying. The second phase was, I'm still on a spiritual journey while all of this is happening. And I began to question that belief. First, the thing I questioned was the belief in not being good enough. And that was a belief that I carried around for many, many years. But being on this path and doing the work led me to a place where this question, or no, this belief that I had for many years, I paused for a moment and say, wait. Is this true? Is it true? There was enough space to see in this experience that what I perceived that person to be doing may not have anything to do with me whatsoever. And it's important to point out that I was the one perceiving that, right? This person didn't know anything about what's happening as I'm listening to them, right? And I say may not because I had to get to a place where I knew without question that I didn't, that I actually believed, wait a minute, this doesn't have anything to do with me. I didn't wake up with that realization and boom, there it was. It took many more experiences of being solid and knowing that I knew, hey, wait a minute. This mind is talking, but it's not telling the truth about anything. So after I started to, question that belief, ask, is this true? And how do I know it's true? Everything I was experiencing in my career from that standpoint, and I want to really be clear about this, was in direct contradiction to what I thought and what I was experiencing. So even though the mind was saying, yeah, you're not good enough, everything I was experiencing was totally opposite of that, right? That doesn't matter to the ego. So then I gradually began to realize, not only that, but any of us, none of us can own what another person decides to do. So this is when the shift to right-minded thinking began to happen. And so I want to fast forward to today. And this is what I know is true. Holy Spirit certainly pointed this out to me Thursday. And I'm supposed to share this with you today. I know it. So what I recognized, I was on a call Thursday, same individual. Same thing was happening again. But what my direct experience was, that yes, it is indeed possible to sit in the seat of self at any moment. So I sat on that call Thursday and I watched this person repeat the same action. And it's almost had no connection to what was happening. And it wasn't until I felt that inner prompt from my inner guidance and said, do you notice this? It was so noticeable in that moment. I was listening. There was no stuff being hit because there was no stuff there. Right? Nothing can hit stuff if it ain't there. You got to have something for it to interact with, right? So there was nothing to hit because I had actually been doing the work to let go of the stuff, to let go of those beliefs of unworthiness or not being good enough, all of that. I'm sitting there and I'm having this experience and there's nothing. There was no connection, no reaction whatsoever. So this is in that example in Michael Singer's book there about letting go. I did experience what it was like in the moment. And I also knew prior to that experience what it feels like when you don't let go, right? But you go deeper and deeper into suffering, right? Because, the ego is, would love to jump in there with you about how unworthy and, how you've never been good enough since 6th grade and all of that forever. It certainly. But when you do make that choice and you do choose to let go, it's just like in the reading, man, there's something so awesome that happens. And the most awesome, I'll make up a word here, the most awesomest thing that happens is peace, present, right now. And there's a price to pay either way. You get, well, maybe the price is not peace, but the price of not letting go is definitely suffering. And not letting go of your beliefs, those things that annoy you, the untruths, because there is that intelligence that is within there that knows that that is a bona fide, out and out lie, that you're not good enough, or that you're not worthy. And every time something hits it, it's an opportunity to recognize. And, you know, if and when, you know, because we're all on this path of this journey together, when some stuff does get hit, it's just letting you know there's some stuff in there. Come on, get with it. Be for real. Don't push it away anymore. Because that's what that entire chapter is about. Stuffing it away, pushing it away, acting like it doesn't exist. It's cool. You can do that, but it's going to come back up. Something else will hit it, or somebody else will hit it. But what we can do is be grateful. Hear me when I say, be grateful. Every situation, every experience, every person, I don't care who they come wrapped up in as, that for all of it that comes up for you to show you that you still have something in there to be let go of. And be grateful for it. The second part of this homily today is about trusting. Trusting that all is well, no matter what. Trusting truth. And I have learned since I've been a part of this community, you know, how do you trust truth? By trusting. I know, right? It's so simple. But that's how we trust what is true. We just trust it by actually doing it. So I want to share with you a contemplation that I had. And it comes from, and I had this contemplation in February, actually, the very beginning of February, and it comes from Thoughts of Awakening, 365 Thoughts of Contemplation by Regina Dawn Akers. And it's contemplation number 32. Let me read it to you. It says, be what you are by remembering your truth. Be what you are by remembering your truth. Do not question it or analyze it or attempt to define it in any way. Rest and be it. Let peace take you in. Be peace. Know yourself by being, by asking nothing more, and by asking for nothing specific other than to be from our Holy Spirit. So I want to share with you a contemplation that I did. And I focused, what popped out at me first was be what you are by remembering your truth. So I asked inner wisdom, what does this mean to me? What is it saying to me? And here's what I got. You are a loving, wonderful expression of the divine. You are magical. You don't know how amazing of a being you are. You've never lacked anything. You've always been perfect, the mind of God. You are love. You are joy. You are peace. And there's nothing that you cannot do, be, or have. This is the truth of you. It has always been the truth. You absolutely are light. You are awareness, the awareness of what you truly are. And this is how you remember your truth. You have to be aware that truth exists in you. You have no ability to change that truth. It's true even when you aren't aware of it, or you choose to believe something else. You are everything I am. Look at all the beauty around you. Look at that beauty. Think of the cosmos and all of the beauty you see there, all of the beauty you see on the earth, in front of you, in the eyes of people in front of you. Yes, that which created all that beauty also created you. You have had a lot of time believing and acting on what you are not. It's time now. It's time now to walk in your truth. Yes, don't try to figure anything out. Just be it. It starts with your willingness to accept the truth of who you are. You can only do this by listening to me only. I speak truth to you daily. Remember, there's only two things happening: your willingness or your resistance. In your willingness, you make a choice to listen to me and do as I tell you to do. My guidance is always clear. There's no justifications. There's no backstory what I guide you to do. But notice any fear that arises when you decide to follow my guidance. That is what is to truly be seen. That is what is to truly be let go of. That fear is always in opposition to what I'm guiding you to do. See that. See through that to truth. Those opposing thoughts are merely the way the ego tries to stay in place in your mind. You can't help but be peaceful when you follow my guidance. You can start joying when you know joy is always present for you. Do you know there's never a reason for you not to be in complete joy? Only listening to the thoughts of the mind can push joy away from you. But it needs your help to do it. Otherwise, joy is just here for you to dance in. Look around you. You don't need anything. You don't need any reason to experience joy. Just like this thought of awakening says, let peace take you in. So be peace. Let joy take you in. And be the joy. Be it. That's all you're asked to do. How simple is that? How easy is that? In your moments at work, where is your joy? It's there and you know it. It doesn't matter how many back-to-back calls, emails, projects, or whatever. Take a moment and pause and ask yourself, where is my joy right now? Recognize my guidance in me. Yeah. Joy doesn't come from the work or from the job. You bring joy to the work because you are doing that job or that task at hand in joy. You are the joy. You bring joy to whatever you do. There's no other way. If you are not in joy, what are you thinking? Where are you placing your attention? Be what you are by remembering your truth. This is your truth. You are joy. Know thyself by being and asking for nothing more than this. You're asked to be willing. That's it. And when you're willing to just be, you are allowing yourself to know yourself, to know what you truly are. You don't need to know anything. Being whatever you are, being all right with whatever is enough. Be with the guidance given you. Do not allow the ego to question my guidance. And even if you find yourself listening to it, let go and choose to just be. You don't know what is best for you at any given time. So why not relax, let go, trust, and surrender? Just be. And allow joy, your constant and absolute best friend. Ask for nothing more. And just be. It's here for you now. Everything you need, you have already. Trust that and remember your truth. So that's what I wanted to share with you all that came through as a contemplation. And it was just tied right into our talk today. And we've been and are always pointed to what we need at any given moment. But I also encourage you to just, one, let go. It's easy. It's easier than you thought. Let go. Trust. Be willing to just be whatever it is that you feel like you might need. Because it's always here for us at all times. We just allow ourselves to sink into what's here for us. Just sinking into it is enough. And that's all I have to share. So I really appreciate your going along this journey here this morning. So, before we go to our next song, I want to remind you, every last one of you, that you can donate to Awakening Together by clicking on the link that Sina is going to post, or by using the QR code in the sanctuary. And the next song that we're going to hear is from Ricky Byers. It's a beautiful song. So I just encourage you to just let this song sink in too, because it talks about things falling away. Let it all fall away. Sina? All right. Inviting us to let go. Let it all fall away and let go. All right. So I'm going to open up right now and ask if anyone wants to share. I may not be able to see everybody at once, so just, Nina.
Hi.
Hi.
Had to unplug. Sometimes when I'm plugged in, people can't hear me. I wanted to say that I loved your sharing on what came to you as you contemplated the thought of awakening. Two things showed up for me during your gathering. One first, and one thing that showed up is I could hear as you were talking about, letting go of the I am bad belief, right? When you see it, you don't need to believe it, whatever words you used. I could hear that a maturing had happened there. Like once upon a time, I'm sure you didn't see that quite so clearly. So So one thing that showed up for me was it's just so wonderful to be able to watch people mature into their own seeing. I love that. But then you shared the single quiet thought, which was nice. But then I used to call them single quiet thoughts, thought of awakening. But then you went on to share what you wrote. And that was magnificent. And what happened for me then as I listened, I've heard before, I don't really know if this is true, but I've heard before that there are people who go through gentle healing year 2, where, part of what you're supposed to do is contemplate the daily thought of awakening and write. And I've heard that there are people who go through and they don't write. They might read the thought of awakening in the morning. They might even read the thought of awakening that came through me throughout the day, but they don't contemplate it and they don't write. And that's a disservice to oneself, because the only true guide is the guide within ourselves. Both my misperceptions and false beliefs, and even my particular take. For example, you can have the I am bad belief and I can have the I am bad belief, but it's different. It's not the same, right? What you projected onto and what you think makes you unworthy and guilty is different than what I projected onto and what I think makes me unworthy and guilty. Therefore, those knots have to be untied differently, right? It's unique for every individual. And only within ourself does it know how that entire structure was built. And so only within ourself does it know how to tear down that structure. So it's like both our awake self and our path away from our awake self is here, right? Therefore, the journey home is here. And so by contemplating those thoughts like you did, and by writing with our inner wisdom, not reading somebody else's inner wisdom, right? Writing with our inner wisdom, that's what meets us where we're at and leads us home. That's what knocks down our false house of cards, right? So it was such a beautiful demonstration, so absolutely perfect, that I needed to come in and comment on it. So thank you so much for your demonstration, Jackie. I appreciate it.
Regina, thank you so much. Anyone else?
There were so many things that you said that just hit home so deeply that I did just really want to share that this experience of noticing that there is something aware and unaffected. And I had read a title to one of Regina's clarifying the teachings this year, which felt like it came through really loud and clear in what you were teaching. And that is, if I recall correctly, the title said, consciousness chooses through attention. And the whole message of letting go felt like turning the attention back to the consciousness and not identifying with the objects of consciousness any longer, all the objects. This is the letting go. It's not, it used to feel like such a thing I was doing. How odd. It's odd now, but I'm listening to you speak and all I can think is, so much grace. I can just feel it flowing. So much grace and so much kindness and so much truly love. Just love for all of it, not just this separate sense of who I am, but this self that we truly are. Like it felt like it just rang. Who am I? Who sees this? So I just want to thank you, Jackie. It was really, really profound. I appreciate it. Love your shares.
Thank you, Rhoda. Jenny?
Thank you so much for your homily, Reverend Jackie. Strangely enough, today it's afternoon here in the UK, and this morning I've started watching the satsang where you interviewed Reverend Deb, and I kind of fell in love with both of you, and I'm really looking forward to going back and listening to the rest. So I was like, oh, it's Reverend Jackie, he's doing the homily today, so it was dead exciting. So there's just that lovely, lovely sense of when little, that thing of the web of life, and each of us is like a little jewel at one of the crossings of it. And it's like when they just light up, and it's like, there's another one that's lit up, and it feels for me personally like you've just really lit up on the web for me in a way that's really just adding a lot of joy. And I also wanted to thank you for all the things that you didn't say. Strangely enough, there were thoughts that were popping up in my mind as you were telling your story and sharing your wisdom. And it was like they were just falling away because you didn't even need to say them. But the thing of like why that person was being such a pain, like, oh, it's because they're really sexist, or oh, it's because they're this, or all the projections of the mind for why that thing was happening. And I was listening to my mind making up stories for you for why that thing happened. And it was a beautiful teaching because it was even easier to see my mind's stories on your behalf than it is to see the stories it tells me for me. It's like, oh, there's Jackie's truth, clear as day. And here's daft nonsense my mind's throwing in as stories. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of those things that you didn't even need to say. I could hear my mind supplying for free. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you. The mind can do that, can't it, at times. Thank you. Anyone else? Hey. All right, I think we are complete on that. Then I'm going to ask Sina to play our closing song. And I purposefully chose this song because it just reminds us of that we are all shining stars. And I could think of no other group to tell us that than Earth, Wind, and Fire. Have a wonderful, beautiful day, everyone. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings to all of you.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.